I watched this video like what 6-7 times so far. Let's see. Make sure I'm not muting, but at least lowering the volume. Hopefully you can still hear the person. So it was, obviously the person's playing my decks. Let's see if I can get some audio in there.
Have a good deck.
Okay.
And that's, yeah, I think it might work.
I guess I don't have to lower the volume because he's already low volume.
But we'll see.
Okay.
Let's start playing it.
So this is one of my decks. Let me just skip forward because.
It's like I cheated somehow.
All right. So yeah, you just get some statements.
Oh my god, these cards are so dead. Insane.
So clearly he's playing my decks wrong.
Am I gonna win this game?
But he admits that he needs to,
like a win.
that he's going to play the deck properly on the next game, but
Oh, wait,
he wasn't playing the deck right. He was still playing it. I mean, he still was doing stuff, obviously,
yeah, I'm
but he wasn't playing it right. Because of certain cards, he's like, I look in his energy, I could tell he's automatically playing the deck wrong. The fact that he still has Champas in his hand means he's playing the deck wrong. Because his opponent should be taking double strikes like crazy. And then of course, gotta play the Obuni, but he doesn't have the 2-drop, which is in his hand, also in his energy, which is the Cooturtle Kai, which allows him to reuse his negates, his 2-drop Gokus, his 1-drop Roshis, and what's his name, 1-drop Boo, because it's a loop based deck, right? The blue cards in the deck is the defense part of the deck. The red cards is the offense. So let's skip some steps. So he's taking advantage of Booney and whatnot. Of course, he's been complaining about my deck being bad while he's doing good with it. The irony in that, right?
That's what I need to do. Okay, we're in the clear. We can kill this.
The reason he's still in the game is because the cards are putting in some work.
Like a janky deck and a deck that just doesn't function.
So you see, he's double striking.
Right. This is a deck that just doesn't function.
Says doesn't function, but it's literally functioning.
The only reason why I was able to win this, he has double strike, by the way.
Listen to the bullshit, the excuse of why he's doing good.
The only reason I was able to win this game is because, honestly, this dude wasn't that good.
See,
and also because
he throws shades at the opponent, and then he says Obuni is the only thing that was good, even though the double strike was putting in work, and he literally used it to win. It wasn't Obuni that won him the game. It was literally double strike. And the fact that he was able to outgrind his opponent, right? He was able to out-hand advantage his opponent, because his opponent was literally at one card in his hand while he had 2 cards in his hand, and one of those cards just so happened to be the double strike. See, he charges that when he's not supposed to charge that, because he's supposed to play it, because that's his ramp. So he's playing the cards wrong. He's playing the wrong cards at the wrong turns. He's using the unison. He's using Champa with the unison when Champa should be with the leader, especially with the leader being a 10K. The unison's a 9K. So it'd be too. It's just funny. Like he's playing the cards wrong. He's, he sees Hatchiak and he's like, oh, I gotta play a unison against Hatchiak. So he played the unison too early. Then let's see. He doesn't use the Obuni tokens to power up, or to power up his Obuni, since the tokens can't attack once he attacks Obuni. Start comboing them off. Use them offensively, use them defensively. Because the idea, look, your opponent's hand size is big. You're supposed to combo and swing 25K, 30K like every turn against your opponent, so that way they have to try to out-combo it. His leader is awake, so that's the thing. But so now he finally got the Cooturtle Kai out there, right? So now he can start negating, bounce, negate, bounce, negate. So he can stop
But Booney's not gonna
2
be
potential
anything
threats every turn.
I'm gonna be bouncing back.
Now he's, see, now he's playing the
UI
cards
Goku's
right.
for sure my win condition. I actually don't think you can do anything about it.
But you see, he's still charging the computer, the Majin the Fire when he's supposed to play her because she's ramp.
Then I just bounce back this. And then
She's what gets you to assign Goku a turn, 1 or 2 turns sooner.
You're better than this.
I know he has the unison, he can use the unison to ramp, but
Get rid of that.
he already has something that could be a permanent ramp if he was to play it.
This guy's so tense.
So he's not playing cards he should be playing.
I'm so sick of this fucking card.
He's complaining about Ledric. He finally combos them off, but it's like you been should have comboed them off long ago. Just like you been should have played it when you had the unison and your opponent had blockers and you had no battle card. You should have played it for free and start swinging.
It's so bad at this.
Plus, it's a blocker. It's funny he didn't charge one so he can guarantee he has energy to play the Ledric, because Ledric is a blocker.
He's played his decks on stream.
He's stating a lie here that
Like at UI Goku
that I
right now,
play the
he
decks
might win.
on stream. So he seen me play the decks, but then he says they don't work, but they actually do.
It's a very good sign. I mean, this is
Proof
the
right
worst
here
thing.
is he's playing one of my decks and it's
I've
working.
only been playing Jake, to be honest. Like,
It's
I've just
him
played
that's the
Hatch,
problem.
And this deck kind of has a lot of recursion.
And I've proven time and time again that even when you're not a good player, even if you're playing my decks wrong, they still do pretty good. It's just if you play them really, really wrong, of course you're not gonna do so good. Card games are skill based, regardless of what you think. They are skill based. The decisions you make, the cards you play matter. You gotta play the right cards at the right time.
It's like a good card.
He doesn't understand that a lot of cards had to be comboed. He finally realized you had to combo them, so he started.
Yeah, okay.
So right here, he started comboing.
Much worse than I anticipated.
So he started realizing the value of the Kibito Kai.
I need to get to UI.
But you see, he has 2 Majin the Fires in his hand, 2 in the energy area. Granted, he doesn't need it
Dude, I'm not,
anymore.
I'm never gonna draw
Doesn't need it
UI.
to ramp anymore because he's already way too far into the game. And notice that it's taking him too long to try to advantage his opponent. Because he should be, you see all those tokens? He should be comboing them off.
Cards have F7.
He should swing, combo them off.
It's better.
Then play a Boonie, make more tokens. Swing, combo them off. You could be swinging with 35k a Boonie every turn. A 35k a Boonie every turn. Bounce, swing, bounce, swing. Now he finally plays
And that's fine.
Goku, right? Sign. He hard cast it. Finally, right? There's the negate.
It's fine. He has it.
This part was funny.
Power burst.
I like this part.
Not much I can do about it. Just
So
gotta live with it. I'm gonna go ahead and add
he
it back.
bounces it back to his hand. That part I liked. I like that part. That should crack me up. I'm like, oh shit! He bounces sign back to his hand so he can play it again next turn and swing with it and try to get it as try to get it through the negates. You have to try to get through blockers, try to get through negates, and sign will win you the game. That's the whole point
Actually, the Beaver wins you the game.
of sign when you can afford to play him, swing through your opponent's negates and blocks, right? And GG, because you don't need combo power when you use sign Goku. But notice he has all these tokens that he can't attack with, but he can combo with,
I don't.
but he doesn't. Like he combos there, right? Now he's using it as combo power defensively, but it's so funny that he wasn't using it as
Or just combo
offensive combo power. He has Champas and stuff. He should be trying to combo off the tokens
I'm gonna
into an Obuni's attack and chomping it and getting through that hand. Get to that life points, boy. Like I said, see, it finally goes through.
That's game. I need to make sure I out combo. I'm going.
But since he's afraid of his opponent out comboing, even though Goku says your opponent can't combo at all, so he's doing this for no reason, further proving that it's not the deck, it's the player. Because the player is literally doing something you don't need to do at all. But then of course, it's still claimed that the deck's bad and whatnot. But it's not the deck. Clearly the players. He proves further because he plays this deck completely wrong. This requires skill and setup and you're supposed to play certain cards in the right order. And he clearly doesn't play them in the right order.
He gets 0 value out of this leader.
He says Pan I get no value out of Pan, but the whole idea is everything in the deck is 15k and above. You play them, you draw. You play them, you draw. You play any of the battle cards, you draw. So you always get value. Some of the battle cards play in your opponent's turn, so of course you're getting value. That right there is the first 2-drop that lets you draw a card. It doesn't +1, it +0, which sucks. So it tends to die pretty easy. But it's the closest to an extra draw. So it gives you a draw on top of the leader giving you a draw. At least he had the right idea of charging the multicolor so that way he can play. It's funny, he still talks about the deck being trash, but then he says the deck is my best deck accidentally. He said that earlier. Accidentally I made a good deck, which was the Zamasu deck, but then was playing the deck, doing good with the deck, winning with the deck, and still talking trash about the deck not being good. Then it's funny how he says positive things, but then he wants to say negative things for the purpose of negative, just to say something negative. He wants to hate the deck so bad. It has nothing to do with how the deck actually functions, how to play the deck properly. The fact that he charged one of the March of the Great Apes when he's supposed to keep it. The fact that he doesn't have Planet M2, even though there's only 2 copies of it in the deck and he's supposed to play 1, and he hasn't played it yet. The fact that he still has E Supreme Kai in his hands and it's turn 4 is proof that he's playing the deck wrong. Like he's using the leader untap 2 energy incorrectly.
He's just going to combo into the secret rare, and then I lose that way.
Like I said, look, he has 2 Bardic Raiders Warcry in his hand, but March of the Great Apes is charged in energy. It was never supposed to be charged as energy. You had tons of other cards you could have charged as energy, but you chose to charge your win con. Part of the deck's strategy is to play that cards so you can draw 2 cards for March of the Great Apes, draw 2 for the 2 Raiders Warcry, and then draw an extra card because the leader powers up one of the Warcries and gives you a draw. So you draw 5 cards off of playing 3 cards. And he could have done that as soon as he had the ability to. And gaining 5 cards on top of all the drawing you already was doing, right? And the Raiders Warcry tap down 2 battle cards, so that could stop, get rid of some blockers.
It's fucked up because I don't even get the draw.
So that way you can go in and swing.
I don't even get this.
And with all that combo power in your hand,
He dies in 2 hits anyways.
which yes require energy. A lot of them are 10k combo power, but that's the idea. You're supposed to untap with your leader's ability after you pay 4 to play March of the Great Apes. You're supposed to awaken your leader, untap 2 energies. So that when you start swinging with the Raiders, you can start paying energy to combo 10k to get them stronger.
That's so gross.
Combo some 5ks because there are 5ks in the deck, right? And get the attacks really, really high. Get them up to like 30 plus, double strikes, and get the attacks to go through. The idea is to hand advantage your opponent. Draw into your combo pieces as well as. That's the thing. It's a combo deck, but he doesn't know how to combo. Right now, yes, he has 2 March of the Great Apes in his hand. He should charge 1. Right, just because he doesn't really need it more than 1, or he should prepare to use it to draw cards, because March of the Great Apes without apes, you can still play it, draw 2 cards, because it says up to 2 apes, not that you have to play an ape. So it's not a minimum of 1 ape in order to play the card. You could play the card for 4 energy and draw 2 cards. You could do that, just like he could get that 2-drop ape, the Goku Instinct, combo it off to get it into the drop, right? Pay 2, draw 2, so he can try to get to better cards. Or he could play it for 2 energy, draw for the leader's effect, swing with it, have a 20k ape swinging. If it dies, you just warp it from the drop and draw 2. Like I said, he's just not using the cards right. He also didn't mulligan correctly. He's not making sure he has certain specific key cards.
There's so much.
So he just wants to hate the deck, so he wants to show his opponent, like, you know, like, look how terrible this deck is. But in reality, it was him that was terrible, not the deck.
It's not a bad deck, but it's kind of slow.
And then, of course, he's throwing shade at his opponent's deck. I'm not going to go too far. That's far enough. You get the idea.
Okay, we're getting low. More.
So let's see.
I do have a big hand. Unfortunately, it's all 10Ks and other garbage like this.
You see, it's turn 4. He plays that 4-drop. That was a bad play. He shouldn't be playing that.
He's probably going to just have another super.
He should have kept his energy up and use the unison and because the unison was already 15K. Use the unison with Champa to double strike.
I think even if
He should have kept the energy up so that he can negate. He also should be playing Planet M2, which he never does. You notice he not playing. There's 2 copies of the card in the deck, and the whole idea is to make sure you have it in your opening hand and to play it as soon as turn 2 or turn 3 if you're going to play the 2-drop unison. But you notice he's not playing the cards correctly. He doesn't charge not a single one of the blue, yellow Goku and Vegetas to make sure you have the blue energy so you can hard cast or at least a rival play the Goku and Vegeta. He doesn't try to make any of the cards work. That's part of the problem. It's not that the deck doesn't work. The deck works if you know what you're doing. If you know how to work. If you know how to do what you're supposed to do. He just expects that every card he plays automatically, magically works and does amazing things by itself. And that's the thing. He's not a combo player. He's playing a combo deck without being competent as a combo player to combine cards and get results. He's too busy playing one card at a time, hoping the card would do something. He literally played a 4-drop on turn 4 with very little strategy to take advantage of it. Because that 4-drop Sigma, that's essentially a win con. He didn't use it right. That's why he didn't win right there and then when he played it.
Prime example of why, part of why his decks don't work is he just has too much.
No, this is a prime example of why when somebody who isn't good at the game to be able to make cards work, or at least try to make it work, or at least listen to my video in which I explain, you know, the concept behind the deck and what you're supposed to do. It also would be logical for him to even ask me questions. I wouldn't even have a problem with if he asked me to, you know, make a gameplay video to showcase the deck in action, me playing it, so that way he can see it in action, if he actually cared to see how the deck is properly played. But instead at least I respect that he played it. At least he played the decks. Played it wrong. Technically he played the first deck properly, obviously. The second deck he totally played it wrong. But the first deck, at least he, at the most basic level, played it like a noob, which is better than nothing. Because even if, whether you're a good player or not, the deck's going to do what the deck does, which is it's going to give you cards that you can use, and how you use it determines, you know, the results you're going to get. You know, you could literally have given him a top tier meta deck, a deck that like won 3 tournaments back to back, right? And he still will play it wrong. He will still play the play lines wrong. He wouldn't play it the same way that the person who won 3 events back to back with the deck would play it. He will play it the way he plays. And he doesn't take himself as a player to account to why things do or do not work. So instead of being like, okay, I don't know how to play this guy's deck the way he wants me to play it, you know, it's hard to understand his train of thought, his strategy. Because it's okay if he's not a fan of this deck. You know, this deck is not for everybody. Obviously, it's it's my deck, not his. And I didn't make it so other people can play it. I made it so I can play it, and I play it just fine. It's everybody else that if they can't play it, that's fine. You know, the old saying, results may vary. Not everybody's on the same level. Not everybody has the same skill cap, right? Skill level. So clearly, like I said, he was playing it wrong. I even pointed out how he's supposed to play some of the cards, which already lets you know that he does not know how to play the deck. Since he does not know how to play the deck, shouldn't be surprised he's not getting the results that I get. He's not getting the most out of the deck Another thing is he doesn't realize that you're actually supposed to play the Champas and E Supreme Kais. You're actually supposed to pay 2 energy to play E Supreme Kai and 3 energies to play Champa. That is actually part of the deck strategy. Not saying that that's something you have to automatically do. I'm just saying that is something you can do because it is part of the process, part of my thought process when it comes to the deck. If you notice, a lot of my cards that are battle cards have 15k power minimum. 15k, 16k, 20k's, right? Obviously. So that means they will always trigger the leader's ability. It's just that he never thought of, oh, I should play this card to trigger the leader ability so I could draw. See, I would because I thought of that when I built the deck, is play battle card, draw, play battle card, draw, play battle card, draw, play battle card, draw. Plus, Planet M2 and the leader's effect essentially makes any battle card you play 10k stronger for that turn. That's the whole idea. You play a battle card, get the 5k boost, get the draw, swing with the battle card that's currently now 20k plus, use Planet M2 on your opponent's leader and drop their power down by 5, and now your opponent's going to require like, what, 10 to 15k combo power just to try to out combo on average, and that's if they're on the front side. If they're awakened side, they're going to need like 20k plus combo power to try to out combo your attack, and that's the idea, is that you are constantly applying pressure because you're constantly 10k stronger through that process, further proving that he doesn't know what he's doing. He played the deck wrong, which is why he wasn't getting the most out of it. He didn't play most of the cards. That's the thing. He wasn't trying to play and try to get every card to be useful. He just wanted to complain about the cards that didn't automatically was useful. Like, oh, this card is blue, yellow, but I can't use this. Like, it's because you're not trying to. That's the problem. You're not trying to use it. It's raining outside, and that's the end of the video. My review of this video.